Hi everyone, and welcome to my next video for Bayonetta 2 on the Wii U. This is Chapter 5, the Cathedral of Cascades. So at the beginning of this stage, you are saved by Loki, who gives you the power to turn into a water snake, and it kind of creeps me out. The animation is done really well, and I'm not a fan of snakes in general, but the way they did it in this game makes it, just kind of makes me feel a little uneasy. But it's a new gameplay mechanic that allows you to swim through waters quickly. But as you'll see, I had some problems with the controls. You kind of have to use dual stick to not just control the snake, but to move the camera so that you can ascend and descend in the water. Not the most intuitive controls, and hopefully you don't have to do it too much more throughout the game. Maybe not at all. That would make me happy, since I didn't really care for the water snake controls in the game. And so at the beginning here, you have to find an alternate way into the cathedral, and there's this hidden chest that you have to, or where you have to collect 5 of the fragments. And this part again, I had some trouble controlling the snake and understanding how to do it. And so eventually you get the 5 pieces. They're very generous with the time limit to get all 5. So you break that open for a broken witch heart. And underwater, I was only able to find the first verse where you fight these 2 enemies that were from an earlier chapter. I like fighting them. They look really cool, and I think I might get a pure platinum on this first battle. And speaking of these hidden verses that are strewn throughout most of the exploratory stages, it was something that they did in the first Bayonetta, and it's something they do, I would say even more so here, is that you have to almost go through every little nook and cranny of a stage in order to trigger them. Sometimes you have to sometimes break something, whether it's a chest, or it might even be a barrel, or you just walk through a threshold of a gate, and all of a sudden you'll trigger a verse. And I get it. I understand that they want to give these stages replay value, and maybe even extend the game by making the player veer from the critical path and find them. But from a design perspective, I'm not that impressed, and I think it's kind of a cheap and lazy way to design that particular aspect of a game like this. So it's not something I like. I love the fights. I love battles in this game, but I am not a fan of that design element in Bayonetta. And it doesn't really hurt the game, because those things aren't necessary for you to enjoy the title. But if you are going for pure platinum and you aren't using a guide or looking at videos on YouTube to see where they are, you could get frustrated, I think, in finding all of them, and not only that, but pure platinuming everything. So the replay value is there. I won't deny that, but the manner in which the game has you do it is something that I don't really like. I'm sure there are players that do, but just my personal preference is I wish those were just easier to find, and not so nebulous. So here, I think is one of the cooler parts of the game, is that you do fight these new type of monsters called Infernals, and they have great subtitles. Like this one is the Driver of Agony, Pain. So definitely a new element introduced in Bayonetta 2 that wasn't in the first game. And there's a bit of a flashback to the beginning, where the one that you summoned kind of turned against you, and is the reason why you are searching for Jean. So there's something going on here that I'm sure they'll get to in the rather convoluted story so far. Much like Bayonetta 1, the story is pretty long-winded, and to tell you the truth, when the long cutscenes play, I tend to zone out, and I'll look at Facebook or Twitter or something, and I'll I guess listen to it peripherally, but not pay that close attention to it just because the story really isn't all that good. Especially compared to Nier, which is another game that I'm playing right now on the PS3, which may not have the visual flair of this game or that good of a combat system, but it has a fantastic story. So I wish they would. I wish I could have the gameplay of this game with the story of Nier. That'd be pretty amazing. So that's the first Infernal that you fight, and he drops a new sub-weapon that you can use, and then this kind of tomb area starts to fill with water, and you can't swim all the way to the top, but there is first a hidden battle stage right here in Muspelheim, however you say it. And in this one, just basically you have to defeat all the enemies without touching the ground. They make it slightly easier because you can stand on this platform up here, which at least as far as I know in the first Bayonetta you didn't have that. You couldn't land on the ground, period, so you'd have to do a couple hits and then do an air jump and just keep that going, which isn't that hard, but here they make it a little easier. I'm guessing that if there are similar challenges later, that platform won't be there and the battles will be a lot more difficult. But that's something I mentioned in an earlier video, is that I do like that these come up more frequently than they did in the first game, and that the difficulty is has a slower ramp up, so you get to learn some new techniques without getting too frustrated, or frustrated at all. And so you get your next book page there, and this chest I believe will give you a bunch of money. Yep. And then you swim to the top, and you enter this really cool tower or grand hall area. Again, this game just looks really nice. If you explore this area, you will find the second half of the LP, which will give you another weapon, which I haven't gotten yet. And if you go to the left side, you'll trigger another hidden verse. This one isn't so obscure, you just go over there and you'll trigger it. Fight a few guys, and if you go to the other side, there is a chest waiting for you that I believe either has a lollipop or more money. And so far I've been doing okay with these battles. I don't think I've gotten anything less than a gold. It's mostly been platinums or pure platinums. So here you get more money. And I think this is also new to Bayonetta as well. Basically these interactive conversations where you can walk around and the characters talk. Very similar to what they did, what Naughty Dog did in The Last of Us, where there are a lot of moments where all you can do is walk, you and Ellie, and you have these conversations that flesh out the story and build the relationship between the characters, which is nice. And so I think it's kind of cool that they did something similar here, where you have some control, but the story is still progressing. And there's another hidden stage up here. Just defeat the enemies within the time limit. Pretty easy. I do get hit, so I think I only get platinum on this one. And these are fun. I wish, and I don't know if there is a way, I wish there was just an easy way to restart these. If you get hit, I would love to just keep retrying these quickly to try and pure platinum them. And I think you just have to stand there and get hit, the 5 times to get the fail, and then try it again. I wish you could just press start and select reset, and that'd be much easier. Something I wish they did just in the game itself. I would love to just be able to start chapters over from the beginning. But unfortunately that's not in there. Maybe in a patch. We can hope. So I skipped this. Speaking of long cinematics, this was just a very boring, long exposition one where Luca goes on and on forever discussing, the Umber Witch and the Lumen Sage and, their whole place in the world, yada yada. So, not all that interesting to me. It sort of looked like the opening to Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, kind of the ancient art and stuff, but not as compelling, and yeah, I just kind of wanted to move on. So you're fighting on this mechanical water globe, which Loki's inside, and you're fighting these centaur-like creatures from the prologue. Not good at all. I only got a silver on the combo. Here comes this guy again. And this is interesting. You change to Loki, and almost like another Naughty Dog game, like Crash Bandicoot, you're running towards the camera, or Uncharted, similar. And so you just dodge his attacks, and eventually you make it to the top. I did get hit, so I only get platinum instead of pure platinum. Just, I wasn't ready. I was like, whoa, this is very different from what has happened previously. And so this is cool. Luca has the power to kind of repair things, which I guess is sort of what he just did while you're in that tower and built that bridge. And you have this last battle up top. These two sub-boss enemies. And once you defeat them, that will take you to the end of the stage. And unlike most of the story in Bayonetta, I actually like the moments that happen after this fight. You take them out. I didn't do well on that one either. You know, bronze on damage, but still managed to get a gold. So right here, you know, it looks like the relationship between Loki and Bayonetta is growing. You know, he saved her, she saves him, but he's, you know, still having these, I guess, these visions. And just as you think he's gonna fall and you have to do it all over, nope. Kind of like Blade Runner saving him, and I don't know what happened to the other guy. He just disappears, and yeah, the chapter ends. So that is chapter 5, the Cathedral of Cascades. I missed 2 verses somewhere, but managed to get a gold overall. So I like that chapter. I do enjoy the exploratory ones a lot, and the next one will be a boss stage, so I'll see you in that one. Thanks for checking this out.